You've probably heard it 1,000 times. Trading is all about strategy. Charts, patterns, indicators, news. These are the things everyone obsesses over. And yet, if strategy alone were enough, wouldn't most traders be wealthy by now? But the reality is brutal. Most traders fail. They don't fail because they're lazy. They don't fail because they don't study. They fail because they never uncover the one truth that separates the elite from the masses. That truth is mindset. Not the cliché version of mindset, empty motivational quotes pasted on a trading desk. I'm talking about the real, gritty, lived psychology of those rare few who survive long enough to thrive. The way they think when a trade turns red. The way they breathe when the market moves against them. The way they act when everyone else panics. Because here's the hard reality. The market doesn't reward intelligence alone. It doesn't reward speed alone. It doesn't even reward knowledge alone. It rewards the ability to stay calm when others unravel, disciplined when others chase, patient when others crumble. And that ability doesn't come naturally. It's built, slowly, painfully, over time. That's what you're about to step into. This isn't a book about 10 easy steps to profit. It isn't a list of secret setups or magic indicators. This is a journey into the unseen world of trading psychology, a world where your greatest enemy isn't volatility or liquidity. It's you. You're going to see what elite traders see. You're going to hear what they tell themselves in the heat of battle. You're going to uncover the mindset shifts that turn ordinary traders into extraordinary survivors. And here's the promise. If you're willing to absorb these lessons, not just read them, but live them, you will start to think differently too. But don't mistake this for an easy ride. The journey will force you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself, the hidden flaws you've been denying, the impulses you've been obeying, the destructive loops you've repeated trade after trade. You'll feel exposed, vulnerable. But that's the point, because the market has already exposed those flaws 100 times. You just haven't faced them head on, until now. So here's your choice. You can continue as you are, chasing setups, fighting emotions, blaming the charts. Or you can step into this journey, one chapter at a time, and start reshaping the very way you think. Because in the end, elite traders don't just know more, they are more. They've rebuilt themselves from the inside out, and that's the path you're about to walk. Take a deep breath, open your mind, and prepare yourself. This is how elite traders think differently, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. Chapter 1. The Shift You Never Saw Coming. You've been trading long enough to notice the pattern. Not the chart pattern, the human one. You watch the market move and you can feel your own heartbeat syncing with the candles. Green bars make you breathe faster. Red bars squeeze your chest. And yet, when you look at the traders who seem untouchable, those few who actually thrive instead of merely survive, you realize something strange. Their reaction is different. Where you see chaos, they see clarity. Where you feel fear, they feel focus. Where you chase, they wait. This realization hits you like a quiet thunderclap. Elite traders are not born with some magical system or secret algorithm hidden in a dusty vault. No, what they carry inside their mind is different. Their perception, their patience, their emotional wiring, all sculpted by choices you haven't made yet. And here's the truth you don't want to admit. Most traders, maybe even you, are still playing the wrong game. You're playing price. They're playing psychology. Think about it. Every single trade you've taken that spiraled into disaster, was it really the chart's fault? Or was it the moment you lost discipline, abandoned the plan, or let fear hijack the wheel? You know the answer. The elite trader's edge begins with a shift that's invisible to outsiders. It isn't about spotting the top or bottom. It isn't about having the fastest news feed. It's about rewiring the way they respond to uncertainty itself. Imagine this. You enter a trade. Price dips against you immediately. Your heart jumps. Your hand hovers near the close button. Panic whispers, "You're wrong. Get out. Save yourself." But an elite trader? They feel the same tug, but their inner voice is different. Calm, measured, almost detached. It says, "This is part of the game. Stick to the plan, manage the risk, let the market do what it does." That difference in thought, the way they interpret the exact same moment, is the crack in the wall that separates the majority from the few. And here's the kicker. They weren't born thinking that way. They built it, step by painful step, loss by loss, lesson by lesson. So you have to ask yourself, are you willing to rebuild the way you think? Are you ready to challenge the hidden reflexes that make you click the wrong button at the wrong time for the wrong reason? Because until you do, no strategy, no setup, no indicator in the world will save you. Let me pull you deeper. The average trader obsesses over what to trade. The elite trader obsesses over how to think while trading. The average trader asks, "Where's the profit?" The elite trader asks, "Where's the risk?" The average trader sees money on the line. The elite trader sees discipline on the line. One mindset leads to frantic chasing, over-leveraging, revenge trading, and emotional burnout. The other mindset builds a fortress of calm focus, steady, consistent, immune to chaos. And the most terrifying part? Most traders never even realize that their biggest opponent isn't the market, it's themselves. You felt this opponent already, that sudden urge to double your size after a win, that desperate grab to recover after a loss, that restless itch to trade when the setup isn't there, that voice inside that says, "Don't miss out, don't look stupid, don't wait." That voice has cost you more than any candlestick pattern could. Elite traders know this. They don't fight the market. They fight that inner voice day after day, and over time, they win. Not by silencing it completely, but by learning to sit with it, observe it, and not obey it. Picture this clearly. Two traders, same account size, same setup, same entry. The market dips. Trader A panics, exits early, takes a small loss, and watches price reverse in the direction they originally predicted. Frustration builds. The next trade is emotional, sloppy, desperate. The account bleeds. Trader B, calm, detached. The dip was expected, risk calculated, position sized correctly. They sit, they breathe, they execute the plan, not the fear. And when the reversal comes, they collect, not because they're smarter, but because they thought differently. This is the dividing line. This is the secret. Not a technical tool, not a hidden broker feed, not a whispered Wall Street code. Mindset. And here's the promise I'll make to you. If you can begin to see what they see, if you can begin to think like they think, you can start crossing that line. It won't be instant. It won't be easy. In fact, it'll be one of the hardest things you ever attempt. But once your mind shifts, your trading life will never look the same. Because elite traders don't just control their trades, they control themselves. And that's where your journey begins. Chapter 2. The Hidden Enemy in Your Mind. You wake up and check the charts. The candles are already moving, but before you even touch the keyboard, the game has already started inside your head. This is the part no one tells you. You think trading is about timing, analysis, setups, but every trade begins long before you enter. It begins with the thoughts circling your mind. And here's the dangerous truth. Most traders walk into battle blind, never realizing that their own psychology is waiting to ambush them. Think about yesterday. You opened a trade with conviction. You believed in your setup. But then, within minutes, doubt crept in. You saw red on the screen, and suddenly your conviction evaporated. You convinced yourself to exit early, and when price turned in your favor just seconds later, rage boiled in your chest. It wasn't the market that betrayed you, it was your mind. Elite traders know this pattern better than anyone. They've lived through the same betrayals, the same frustration, the same self-sabotage. But instead of ignoring it, they studied it. They shined a light on it. They learned to recognize the enemy, fear, greed, ego, before it could control their actions. This is the war you're really fighting, not against the bears, not against the bulls, but against your own primitive instincts. Your brain wasn't built for trading. Evolution designed it to keep you alive, not to keep you disciplined in front of a glowing screen. That's why losses feel like life or death threats, why missing out feels like starvation, why wins flood you with addictive euphoria. Your brain is ancient, the market is modern. And until you train yourself to bridge that gap, you will always feel like a prey animal trapped in the headlights of price movement. Elite traders understand this mismatch. They don't deny it. They don't pretend to be fearless superheroes. Instead, they accept that fear will show up, greed will whisper, ego will roar, and then they prepare to respond differently. Where most traders fall into fight or flight, elite traders build pause. They create mental distance between emotion and action. They say, yes, I feel the fear, but I don't need to act on it. This is the secret power you've never trained. That gap between impulse and decision. That pause where discipline is born. You felt it before, even if you didn't use it. That split second where your finger hovered over the mouse. That tiny breath before you hit close. That moment when you knew you were about to break your rules. Elite traders live in that moment. They stretch it, expand it, and master it. That pause is their weapon. Let's be brutally honest. How many times have you promised yourself discipline? How many times have you sworn you'd wait for the perfect setup, only to cave when impatience gnawed at you? How many times have you told yourself you'd manage risk, only to double down out of desperation? The problem was never knowledge. It was never the lack of a perfect strategy. It was the lack of control in those critical moments when psychology overpowered logic. And that's where the elite think differently. They don't try to eliminate emotion. They expect it. They don't try to be robots. They embrace being human. But they refuse to let feelings dictate financial decisions. Imagine walking into a casino. The average person is intoxicated by flashing lights, chips stacking, adrenaline pumping. But the professional gambler sees probabilities, edge, long-term outcomes. The environment is the same. The reaction is different. That's trading. The charts are the same. The setups are the same. The environment doesn't change. What changes is how you interpret it. And here's where most traders fail. They confuse excitement for opportunity. They confuse movement for edge. They confuse instinct for discipline. Elite traders know excitement is poison. They know boredom is their friend. They know instinct is often just fear in disguise. So they build rules. They rehearse discipline like a soldier rehearses drills. They condition themselves to stay calm where others lose their grip. Think of it like this. The market is a mirror. It reflects your strengths, but more importantly, it magnifies your weaknesses. Every hidden flaw in your psychology gets dragged out into the open, and unless you confront it, it will bleed you dry. You've seen it in yourself, that one weakness that keeps showing up. Maybe it's overtrading. Maybe it's refusing to cut losses. Maybe it's chasing tops because you can't stand being left out. Whatever it is, the market has already exposed it. The difference between you and the elite is simple. You keep fighting the market to cover the flaw. They fight the flaw itself. And that's where the transformation begins. You want to know how elite traders think differently? It starts with brutal self-awareness. They watch themselves with the same intensity they watch the charts. They track their impulses as carefully as they track price levels. They analyze their own mistakes as if they were studying a rival player's strategy. They don't run from the enemy in their mind. They hunt it down. And if you're willing to do the same, your entire path changes. Because here's the raw, unfiltered truth. You don't lose money because you don't know enough. You lose because you haven't mastered yourself. The charts are neutral. The setups are neutral. The market doesn't hate you. It doesn't care about you. It simply reveals you. And once you accept that, you're one step closer to thinking like the elite.
Chapter 3. Why Patience Looks Like Power. You hate waiting. Admit it. Every time you sit in front of the charts, your mind whispers, "Do something. Take a trade. Don't waste time." The silence between opportunities feels unbearable, like an itch under your skin. And so, you click. You convince yourself that this one could work, even if the setup is shaky. At least you're in the game, right? Wrong. That's how average traders bleed out, one small, impulsive decision at a time. Now picture the elite trader. Same market, same silence, same itch. But instead of scratching, they sit still. The screen is alive with movement, but they are motionless, calm, detached, watching, waiting. To the untrained eye, they look inactive, lazy even. But make no mistake, what you see as stillness is actually power. Because patience is the most aggressive weapon a trader can wield. Think about it. Every premature trade you've taken, every setup you forced, every time you jumped in because you were afraid of missing out, how did it end? Maybe you won a little, but more often, you lost. And even when you won, the victory didn't feel controlled. It felt accidental. Elite traders don't play accidental games. They understand that the market is an endless stream of opportunities. Miss one, and another will come. Force one, and you poison yourself with bad habits that cost far more than a single loss. Here's the truth. Impatience is just fear dressed as urgency. Fear of being left out. Fear of not being productive. Fear of watching others win while you sit on your hands. Elite traders don't fear missing out. They fear breaking discipline. That's the mental flip you've never made. Imagine two hunters. One throws his spear at every shadow in the jungle, desperate to catch something, anything. The other waits silently, hidden, unmoving, until the perfect moment when the prey steps into the clearing. Who survives longer? Who eats better? That's trading, and you know which hunter you've been. The problem is that patience doesn't feel like trading. It feels like inactivity. Your brain wants stimulation, action, the thrill of risk. But trading isn't about thrills. It's about survival. It's about edge. It's about waiting until the odds tilt in your favor and then striking with precision. The elite have trained themselves to enjoy that wait, to take pride in their discipline, not in their activity. They measure success not by how many trades they take, but by how well they follow their plan. And this is where you've been tricked. Social media, trading forums, flashy gurus, they all glorify action. Screens full of trades, constant entries, endless signals. They make you feel like sitting still is failure, like discipline is weakness. But here's the secret they'll never admit. The traders posting every trade are rarely the ones making money. The ones who actually profit consistently, you rarely hear from them because they're too busy doing nothing most of the time. Think about that. Doing nothing is part of their edge. But how do they do it? How do they resist the itch that drives everyone else mad? They reframe patience. Instead of seeing waiting as wasted time, they see it as capital preservation. They remind themselves, every bad trade I don't take is money saved. Every hour I wait is discipline built. Every day I remain selective, I sharpen my edge. They don't sit in boredom. They sit in preparation, reviewing setups, journaling, visualizing the exact conditions that will trigger their entry. So when the opportunity finally appears, they don't hesitate. They execute with clarity. And here's the kicker. Patience compounds. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. The first time you resist a bad setup, it hurts. You feel like you missed out. But the second time, it's easier. By the 10th time, it's instinct. And eventually, you stop feeling the itch altogether. You start feeling power instead. Because while everyone else is bleeding out on random trades, you're protecting your account, preserving your energy, and waiting for the strike that matters. So let me ask you, how many trades have you taken this week just to feel alive? How many times have you convinced yourself to click because something is better than nothing? Now ask yourself this instead. What if you'd taken only the setups that truly matched your plan? What if you'd sat out the noise, the chaos, the false signals? How much money would still be in your account? How much frustration would you have avoided? This is the difference. This is the gap. Patience isn't weakness. It isn't wasted time. It isn't doing nothing. Patience is a weapon. Patience is control. Patience is power. And when you finally grasp this, when you train yourself to love the silence as much as the action, you will cross into the realm of the elite. Because elite traders don't just trade differently, they wait differently.
Chapter 4. The Illusion of Control. You sit at your desk, hands on the keyboard, eyes locked on the chart. A flicker of green, a surge of red. You feel it, the urge to control, to force the market into your plan, to bend reality so it aligns with your expectations. It feels natural. After all, you control everything else in your life, don't you? You control your work schedule. You control your routines. You control your choices. So why not control the market? But here's the painful truth you've never fully accepted. You control nothing here. And the harder you try, the faster you lose. Elite traders understand this on a level that most people never reach. They don't just know they can't control the market, they accept it. They surrender to it. They stop fighting the ocean and learn to surf the waves. Think about the last time you forced a trade. Maybe you saw no clear setup, but you entered anyway. Maybe you widened your stop because you couldn't accept being wrong. Maybe you doubled your position because you wanted to make back what you'd lost earlier. Every one of those actions was an attempt to control the uncontrollable. And every time, the result was pain. Because here's the truth. The market doesn't care about you. It doesn't care about your entry, your stop, your target, or your ego. It doesn't care about your rent, your bills, or your dreams of freedom. The market moves where it wants, when it wants, how it wants. The elite trader doesn't fight that reality. They embrace it. Instead of asking, how can I control the outcome, they ask, how can I control myself in the face of uncertainty? That's the real game. Picture this clearly. Two traders enter the same setup. Price begins to move against them. Trader A panics. They think, no, this can't happen. It has to turn back. I'll hold longer. I'll add more size. I'll fight it until it comes my way. Trader B, calm. They think, the market is doing what it always does, whatever it wants. My stop is in place. My risk is defined. If I lose, I lose. That's the cost of playing the game. The outcome? Trader A spirals into disaster. Trader B takes a small loss, shrugs, and waits for the next opportunity. Same market, different mindset. And here's where the shift happens. Elite traders don't define themselves by outcomes. They define themselves by process. That's why they don't break when they lose. That's why they don't explode when they win, because they know the outcome was never under their control in the first place. The only thing under their control was execution, discipline, and risk. It's like sailing. You don't control the wind, you don't control the tide, you don't control the storms, but you control your sails, you control your navigation, you control whether you stay calm or panic. Average traders drown because they try to command the sea. Elite traders thrive because they learn to ride it. And that brings us to one of the darkest traps in trading, the illusion of certainty. How many times have you believed you knew what would happen next? You saw the perfect setup, you felt invincible, you thought, this one can't lose. And then it lost, brutally, suddenly, without mercy. That shock, the sting of betrayal, you felt it before, and you'll feel it again until you accept this. There is no certainty in trading. There never was, there never will be. Elite traders don't chase certainty. They chase probabilities. They live in the world of maybe, not must. And this single shift changes everything. Because when you stop expecting certainty, you stop panicking when things don't go your way. You stop taking losses personally. You stop feeling like the market is out to get you. You begin to see the truth. The market isn't against you. It isn't for you either. It simply is. Neutral, indifferent, unmoved by your hopes or fears. And in that neutrality lies freedom. Freedom to release the need for control. Freedom to let go of the outcome. Freedom to focus on what actually matters. Your mindset, your risk, your process. That's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to control the market is the moment you gain control of yourself. And that's the moment your trading transforms. But ask yourself this: are you ready to surrender? Are you ready to let go of the illusion that you can predict, command, or bend the market to your will? Because until you do, you'll remain trapped, chasing certainty, forcing trades, widening stops, and handing your account to the market one desperate click at a time. The elite don't fall into that trap. They think differently. They let go. They surrender. And in that surrender, they find power. Because in trading, the only control that matters is self-control.